Welcome to Studio 5. A Hillsong United voice embarks on a solo career. Friend of Studio 5, Titus Showers, pays us a visit, and the inspirational true story of a rover sent to Mars for a 90-day mission but ends up surviving 15 years. All three of these stories are on tap for you this week. We'll begin with this week's countdown of the top 5 headlines from the world of uplifting entertainment. Here are your first 2.
At number 5. Congratulations to country music legend Dolly Parton on her induction into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in the class that includes Lionel Richie, Duran Duran, Carly Simon, and the Eurythmics.
This is a very, very, very special night for me. I'm sure a lot of you knew that back when they said they were going to put me in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, I didn't really feel like I had done enough to deserve that.
At number 4.
It's Wakanda Week. The Black Panther sequel hits theaters on Friday. Ludwig Göransson is back as composer. I talked to him about creating the song Lift Me Up with Rihanna.
Lift me up.
A song that comes at a very emotional time in the film.
It comes in the movie in a perfect space, but there's also threads of it throughout the whole score. There's some hints of it throughout the whole movie.
So listen for those when you see it. Black Panther: Wakanda Forever in theaters this weekend.
Well, that begins our countdown. We'll have more to share in just a little bit. At the top of today's show, it's singer and songwriter Benjamin Hastings. He's known for his work with Hillsong United, but the award-winning songwriter is now embarking on a solo career. His debut full-length album is available this week, and it's described as an artistic 25-track journey of honest self-expression featuring dynamic songwriting.
Isn't it just like you to turn it all around for good, like only you could, like only you would. You turn it all around for good, and when you do it so it's done for good, like only you could, like only you would. You turn it all around for good.
You embarking upon a solo career and releasing your first album.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just like you.
25 tracks. I must say, when I read 25 tracks, could you make a bigger debut?
Yeah. Buried in a garden where you wept in blood and tears.
The album I started quite a while ago. Some of the songs have been in existence in some form for about 10 years, but I really started working on the record about 3 years ago.
Well, you didn't bring me this far just to bring me back.
I guess I just wanted it to show all the sides of myself. And as I wrote one song, I was like, well, I can't write that and not write about this. And then I was like, I wrote this song, I was like, okay, well, if I do that, I probably should do this. And it just kept kind of filling in that regard.
But I know
I was just having, maybe you hear a lot of this is in the album, but I was wrestling with God.
Won't you call me onward? Or won't you call me onward?
And so I embarked on this album to try and flesh a lot of that out, and I guess be almost as public about it as possible. It's almost like the whole album is almost oversharing, because I was like, this is how I'm feeling, and if I can just be entirely transparent about it, maybe it's going to help someone else.
And sometimes I feel like I don't. Fate's more than feeling. It's like seeing the invisible.
These are the ones that I think show all these different sides of what I was feeling, and there's resolve. There's hope. There's pushing towards, I guess, fighting. There's a line right at the start of it that says, if faith is a fight, I'm going to win. And I remember writing that in kind of the worst sort of place, but I was like, I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna get through this.
Whatever you want, your will is worth the test. When it's
The resolve isn't even necessarily, here we are, we've arrived, life's great. It's like the resolve is, oh, this valley's not gonna kill me. Like I'm gonna get through the other side.
I'm gonna praise you anyway. I'm gonna praise you anyway.
One of the songs that we have heard is So Help Me God.
Yeah.
That was one you've chosen to share now.
Yeah.
Oh, but you came down the mountain like a pilgrim in reverse.
I just sat at the piano and I started singing, I'm going to get through this, I'm going to get through this, so help me God. And I think at the time, I didn't even know what I was trying to get through. I think I was just in this, in retrospect, I could look back and see that, but at the time, I just was not doing well, but I hadn't even accepted that in myself. And this was kind of, I guess, the inside me being like, hey, you're not good right now, but you're going to be okay.
But I'm gonna get through this, so help me God.
I've always been like, I'd love to write a song about God being the pilgrim in reverse. Like, so as we spend our lives pilgrimaging towards Him, ascending the mountain, trying to be closer to what it is to be Christ-like, and even the metaphorical idea of getting older and ascending to heaven. Isn't it beautiful that, like, while every other God put themselves up on this high pedestal and said, I'm out of reach, you could never be like me. Maybe the highest you'll ever be is to be my servant. Where our God, Jesus, He came down the mountain like a pilgrim in reverse. He met us at the bottom and then helps us walk all the way back up.
Or maybe you'll move it, but either way I get through it.
We'll spend our lives trying to in the ascent, but we have this help the whole way.
So help me God.
Benjamin's new self-titled project is available this week, and it comes on the heels of being nominated for a Dove Award for Worship Song of the Year.
Just moments away.
I once was lost in sin. Your grace came and took me.
Friend of Studio 5, Titus Showers.
Your latest project is named after yourself?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Man, that comes about because after I left the family, I titled my freshman project, Who? So I wanted people to know who Jesus is, and then secondarily, you'll find out who Titus Showers.
We're learning more about who he is on the solo stage and in the studio.
Introducing the CBN Bible from CBN.com. Now, an easier way to study the Bible and grow in your faith. Highlight your favorite verse. Read separate versions at a glance. Click and read a commentary. Or cross-reference your favorite verse using the Strong's Concordance. All the right tools to study the Bible, all in one place. The CBN Bible, available at cbn.com/Bible or the iTunes App Store.
This is CBN News Watch. Thanks for joining us. Watch breaking news, exclusive stories and programs, credible news reporting.
We show you what's happening in the world and how you can pray about it.
This is CBN News Watch, because truth matters. Weekdays at 5 on the CBN News Channel.
At number 3.
I know God is already moving in such absolutely incredible ways.
Congratulations to author and reality star Sadie Robertson and her husband Christian Huff, who are expecting their second baby, posting on Instagram a family photo with the caption, "Another little miracle is in motion."
Who are you? I am who he says I am.
At number 2.
I'm an idiot. I don't deserve these powers, if I'm being honest. Like, what am I even contributing?
A Studio 5 first look at the next Shazam, Fury of the Gods, before it hits theaters Christmas Day.
There's already a superhero with a red suit with a lightning bolt on it. Aquaman is literally huge and he's so manly. And Batman is so cool. And I'm just me.
You actually initially said no to the role?
What? So
to the first one?
No. Well, so yes and no. I feel like a fraud. It doesn't matter. Anyway, the wizard gave me superpowers. And then everybody got superpowers. Where's everyone going?
To fight crime?
Okay. I had received an email for an audition that had been set up for the role of Shazam. And I'm reading this email. I'm like, this doesn't make any sense whatsoever. So I emailed back, I go, aren't they looking for like super jacked dudes at the very least, but also super, super famous jacked dudes? And I am neither of these things. And God bless the assistant who was on the other side of this email, because their response to me felt like this emoji. It was like, now everyone's kind of like doing their own thing and I'm the only one trying to keep it together.
You understand I'm a pediatrician.
Welcome back to Studio 5 with numbers 3 and 2 in the record books. We have only one more story to share in this week's countdown. We're going to get to number 1 in just a little bit. Titus Showers is a member of the Showers family band, but he's also been a popular solo recording artist since 2019. And his latest project is simply called Titus Showers. We caught up with him on the beach to talk about it.
Searching for peace that we cannot find. Yeah. Asking questions, 'cause we don't know why. Oh yeah, we all need you to make a way, and we all need you. That's why we pray. We all need you here in this place. We all need you. Show us the way. And when it all falls down and there's no way out. Yeah.
Your latest project is named after yourself?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Man, that comes about because after I left the family, I titled my freshman project, Who? So I wanted people to know who Jesus is, and then secondarily, you'll find out who Titus Showers is. I had the #1 record on that album, so now when I came out with my new album, I say, okay, let's self-entitle it Titus Showers, and now people should know my name, you know?
Just one word from you can set me free.
So the single floating around now is Name on It?
Name on It,
Tell me about
absolutely.
it.
I wrote it in the midst of the pandemic. See, on Tuesdays, even the whole album was written on Tuesdays. So me and my producers would get together over Zoom, and we would write on Tuesdays, and on Thursdays, I would be in someone's studio recording and sharing with the people of God what God has given me.
Please. We all need you. Show us the way.
We're looking at 10 tracks on this project, right?
Yes, sir.
If you had to pick one today, in this moment, Titus, what is the favorite single on it right now?
Ooh, wow.
And it can't be Name on It.
It can't be Name on It. It has so many messages on there. I would have to say Your Way, Yahweh, because my dad has this motto, which says, do what you're supposed to do and not what we want to do. Many times we go into our own understanding and not his understanding, and we get ourselves into trouble and blame it on the devil. That's not the devil's fault. That's your fault, because we chose to do things our way instead of his way. So that song has a powerful message, and it's one of my favorites on the album.
You mentioned that you are leading worship now.
Yes, sir.
Tell me about how that all came about. So you're a regular worship leader now too?
Absolutely, regular worship leader. I was already leading worship at my father's churches, and then there's a pastor friend of mine back home in Louisiana, Pastor Nathan Young. I always would visit his church and sing and lead worship, probably on Wednesday nights once a month. So he was like, brother, I need you to come and be a part of the team, man. So he extended the invitation. We negotiated a great feasible price to get me to be able to celebrate with them twice a month, and God has blessed me. And it's just has been a blessing, and I'm just excited for the opportunity to do what I love with the people of God.
Titus's latest album is available now wherever you purchase or download your music. And he's not just a gospel recording artist. He also serves as co-host of Listen If You Will. That's a faith and sports podcast. And we want to wish him well, all the best, because he's soon to be a husband. Well, this is a great time to share a story in pictures. Here's this week's Studio 5 Snapshot.
Ladies and gentlemen, we proudly welcome to the Hollywood Walk of Fame, Salt and Pepper.
And we salute Cheryl Salt James, Sandra Peppa Denton, and Deidre DJ Spinderella Roper. Hollywood honored the rap group with their star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame for their pioneering contribution to the world of hip-hop from the 1980s to the present. Fellow legends like MC Lyte was on hand to pay tribute. The women, their memories, and their contributions are this week's Studio 5 Snapshot. Still ahead.
This is Delta Launch Control.
Go for launch.
3, 2, 1, engine start, and liftoff.
It's a Studio 5 first look at Goodnight Oppie.
Just a box of wires, right? But you end up with this cutish looking robot that has a face. Oh, it's alive!
This is not only being called Oscar-worthy, but Best Picture Oscar-worthy. As the director, how does that make you feel?
Well, I don't know who's saying that. That might be my mom and grandma talking.
The true story of a rover sent to Mars for a 90-day mission that lasts 15 years.
She rewrote the history books.
Good night, opportunity.
Woohoo! Hi, Superbook fans. Here's something else you'll love. It's the new Superbook Bible app. It's packed with games, activities, and Superbook episodes that you can watch for free. Oh, no! There's trivia, a fun daily devotional, and answers to your Bible questions. Plus, an easy-to-understand Bible the whole family will enjoy. You can even create your own Superbook character. Ta-da! Whoa!
A Millsburg Falls man.
Sorry, pardon me. Sorry, excuse me. Ouch!
Are you getting this?
Earn super points to win daily prizes, too. And so much more! Time to get back to my adventures. See you soon. It's the new Superbook Bible app. Free downloads on iTunes, Google Play, and Amazon.
Welcome back to Studio 5. We're happy to share this Studio 5 first look at Goodnight Oppie. It's the inspirational true story of opportunity. A rover sent to Mars for a 90-day mission, but ends up surviving for 15 years. This film follows the Opportunity's groundbreaking journey and the remarkable bond forged between a robot and humans millions of miles away.
This is Delta Launch Control.
Go for launch.
3, 2, 1, engine start, and liftoff.
Tell me about crafting this story. I can imagine it was a huge undertaking, going through file footage and deciding who was to be a part of it. Tell me about that process.
Yeah, I mean, every documentary, one of the biggest challenges is where do you begin and how do you craft it? Documentaries are puzzles.
Yeah, it's only a robot, but she becomes a family member.
We were doing big visual effects for this film that were going to take the audience to Mars, and we knew that was going to take us years to render those visuals, and so we didn't have that spontaneity that we normally have in a film where we could just figure it out at the last second. We had to be very planned in advance, and we did that by pre-interviewing, which means off camera, and this was during the COVID days, so we couldn't be in person with people, so it was a bunch of Zoom conversations with dozens of people who worked on the mission.
Our whole objective was to build 2 solar-powered rovers that could survive 3 months on Mars.
And the pressure on the team is really phenomenal. Was Mars once a green world with living things and blue oceans?
We were able to hear the stories that kept popping up, the crises that kept popping up, and the themes, and we wrote a screenplay based on that.
It's just a box of wires, right? But you end up with this cutish-looking robot that has a face. Oh, it's alive!
Describe this overwhelming mission. I kind of feel like this was almost a love affair with a robot, if you will. How would you describe it?
Yeah, I think there is a lot of love in this mission, but it's not just love for the robot, which, you know, took us to these extraordinary places, but it was love for exploration and the manifested as passion from the people who ran the rover, and also love for each other as a team, really working together on these really hard problems and succeeding. It was such a wonderful thing to be a part of.
It's time to fly.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are privileged to be in one of the most exciting rooms on Earth at the moment.
I don't know if I would call it a love letter as much as I would call it a love story. And a love story between this incredible emotional bond that happened between a robot and human beings, but also this incredible love story of this group of people that came together to achieve the impossible. So I love space exploration, but I never endeavored to make a love letter to science or to NASA. I wanted the audience to feel like they were going on an incredible adventure and an incredible journey, and leave the film transformed in some way.
Opportunity is on Mars.
What do we do next?
Let's hit the road, pedal to the metal, and go see Mars.
I think that it shows what humans are capable of at their best. When we work together, when we dream about things that seem impossible, I think it shows that we are capable of achieving so much.
I don't think anyone expected the rover to survive all these disasters. You get this feeling of we're basically invincible.
What about the timing of it all in light of the places in our world where we are not united, but to see such a dramatic union here?
Yeah, you know, I hope that this film can be seen by people and inspire them. And I hope if people are going through tough times or are scared or nervous about things, because there's a lot going on, as you said right now, this will be a little bit of joy and a little bit of hope and inspiration that things can turn out well, you know, again, if we work together and dream big.
Humans are capable of forming a connection and a bond to a robot.
She rewrote the history books.
Good night, Opportunity.
Good Night, Oppie is available on Prime Video on November 4th. With that, we have made it to the final story in this week's countdown of uplifting entertainment headlines. Here's what's finishing on top this week.
At number 1.
This is war. And we're up.
Can't tell you how many times people have told me to give up, quit, die even.
My biggest hope still is that somehow, through the mercy of God, this war can come to a close without us getting into an all-out war with China.
These words are elite Navy pilot Jesse Brown's final love letter to his wife Daisy, written from the Korean War, December 3rd, 1950, read by their daughter.
Don't be discouraged, Angel. Believe in God and believe in Him with all your might. And I know that things will work out all right.
They're the inspiration for his incredible life story, coming to the big screen this Thanksgiving in the film Devotion, starring Jonathan Majors.
Your commanding officer called you one of the best pilots he's ever seen. It must be hard being the
naval aviator. Absolutely.
Jonathan, you played Jesse Brown, the first African-American Navy pilot. Beyond that title, who is he?
He's a father. He's a brother. He's a son. He's a friend. He's a patriot. He's a human. Yeah, and one of the most beautiful human beings I've had the opportunity to meet and play. You know, and he's a teacher.
You're the only person I ever met who belonged in the sky. Just remember you belong down here with us too, okay?
In just a matter of minutes.
Every one step forward, it got me 5 steps back.
We're checking back in with Benjamin Hastings for this show's final word.
region's first ROTC graduate student.
Welcome back. You're in Studio 5. As you know, music fuels our show every week, and this week our soundtrack comes from my personal favorite, PJ Morton. He's done part 2 of his Better Benediction, and he's pulled in a few big-name female voices to make this one work. Take a listen and you'll hear why it's what's playing in my ear.
All things are working for your good. Yeah, it's gonna get better. Making you better every day. I'm a living witness. I'm a living testimony. Oh, it's gonna get better. Oh, it's gonna get better. Gonna get better. Oh, yes, it will. Every day, brand new mercies I see.
On that musical note, we are just about out of time for this week's show, so let's take a moment and look ahead to next week.
I love you, Lord, for your mercy never fails me.
You could say we're hitting the right note with pastor, recording artist, and author CeCe Winans, who has a new book, Believe for It, passing on faith to the next generation.
Of course, I don't know your life, but just from observation, reading your book, I see you and your husband plan to retire, but I kind of feel like you're busier now than you've ever been. Am I correct?
You are so correct. Mom, somebody asked me about my retirement plan. I said, it is not working out the way I thought it was going to work out.
I will raise my voice. I've got Jesus, so I've got joy.
She's with us in Studio 5, sharing the joy.
Certainly hope you'll join us for that story and much more next week. Before we say goodbye this week, we want to give the final word to Benjamin Hastings. If you could go back in time and speak to that little kid in Belfast, on the streets, if you will, with this journey still ahead of him, what would you tell us?
Wow. I feel like God is really good at taking the decisions we make, for good and for bad, and turning them around for good, which is another thing that talks about in the album. And I think it's more about trusting and more about the daily pursuit of God than it is about being in the right place or making the right life choices or any of that kind of stuff. Because God has a beautiful way of pushing us and angling us and using all things for good.
Benjamin Hastings, thank you. That is a great final word for this edition of Studio 5 and this week's look at uplifting entertainment. Until next time, make time to uplift someone around you, and then please come on back. See where Studio 5 takes you next week. Bye-bye. Thank you for watching.